Senior Associate Athletics Director here at the University of Minnesota. In a few moments, I'll welcome Director Coyle to the stage. Director Coyle will then offer a brief opening statement. He will welcome our new men's basketball coach to the stage. At that time, there will be opportunities for photos. Coach Medved will then offer an opening statement, and then we'll take questions from the media. If you are a member of the media and have a question, please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. We'll bring a microphone to you for the question. Once the press conference has concluded, Director Coyle will be available off to the side of the stage for additional questions. Thank you again for being here, and now I'd like to welcome Director of Athletics, Mark Coyle, to the stage.
Thank you, Paul, and good morning to everybody. I appreciate everybody coming out on such short notice, but what an exciting day for Gopher Athletics. I want to take a second and recognize President Cunningham. She got here back in July, and she's been absolutely awesome, has been so supportive of this process and of our athletic department, our student athletes. So President Cunningham, thank you for your support. Our board leadership, obviously when you make changes like this with a significant program, it requires a lot of people to be on board with us. And our board leadership have been phenomenal with our student athletes, so we're grateful for that. I also want to thank our men's basketball student athletes. I see some of you scattered about. I know anytime you go through a coaching transition, it creates anxiety, the unknown. I appreciate how all of you represent our basketball program. The way you've handled yourself has been first class, and I truly appreciate that. And I promise you're going to absolutely love playing for Coach Medved when he gets started here today. I also want to thank our co-workers in the athletic department. I'm so fortunate to work with so many great people. A shout out to Dusty and Julie who helped me out this process. Being on the basketball committee and traveling and trying to interview coaches and that type of stuff was a lot. And Julie and Dusty, I really appreciate your help in that process. I want to take a second, Erica, Ali Taylor, Niko, I want to thank you for believing in us. Minnesota is a special place. My family, we've moved a lot. I understand that's hard. It's transition, and I hope you know how much we appreciate you believing in us and coming to Minnesota. I promise you it's going to be a great experience. Now, when I talk about Niko, you know, I had a conversation with Jim Delaney, the former commissioner of the Big Ten, when I first got to Minnesota. And he talked about how winners win. And if you look at Niko and his background, winners win. If you look at some of the coaches we brought in here the past few years, Keegan with volleyball, Aaron with soccer, Bob with men's hockey, Dawn with women's basketball, they all had a proven track record of winning at a high level and doing things the right way. And when you take a step back and look at Niko and what he's done, especially the past 4 years at Colorado State, but his entire time there, going to the NCAA tournament, winning Mountain West Conference championships, there is no doubt in my mind that we have found the right person to lead our young man and lead this program. So please welcome head coach Niko Medved.
Wow. Surreal being here today. You know, first thing, obviously, I want to thank President Cunningham and Mark for believing in me. And, you know, you're going to hear me talk a lot about this team together thing, but my team, my wife, Erica, who's been with me from the beginning, you have no idea what wives go through. My beautiful daughters, Allie and Taylor, they already got their maroon and gold on. What? They were in green and gold, 36 hours ago? My dad, Miro, my mom, Karen, my brother, Anton, my brother, Alexi, my sister-in-law, Sarah. Peter, already here in the Gopher gear here today. You guys look great. But you know what, I want to start here. I want to talk about Ben for a second, you know, and Ben is my friend. I've known Ben forever. He's part of Gopher basketball history. He played here. He poured his heart and soul into this program. And you know what? He's always going to be a part of this. And I just want to make sure that people understand that, you know, this has been a difficult time in college athletics. You know, part of him got thrown in the middle of this, and Ben's going to get another opportunity to be a head coach if that's what he chooses, and he's going to be terrific. And so I want to make sure that I say that today, and I hope, you know, Ben knows he's always welcome around Gopher basketball. Listen, I know how rare it is to live a life that you dreamed of. And gosh, I think my dad, you were telling me yesterday via text, I think it was before I was born, so I'm 51, so before I was born, my dad had season tickets to go for basketball. Maybe I was 5 or 6 years old, and I remember going to the barn and watching games. I remember where our seats were, their kitty corner, from where our Gopher bench is now. I grew up going to games. I love the energy in the barn. It's where I really started to love college basketball. I had an opportunity. I played all the sports growing up. I had an opportunity to come as a student manager. I've been an assistant coach here. I've taken my teams here at Furman and Drake to play. It's just a magical place. And so, to be back here right now, it just feels surreal. All I wanted was an opportunity to be a Division I head basketball coach, and to see it all come full circle here is just really, really amazing. Why Minnesota? I've seen this place at its best. I believe we have everything it takes here to be successful. We have one of the best universities in the country. We play in the premier league in the country. We have, in my opinion, the best community in the Big Ten. We play in a historic venue that, in my opinion, when it's right, is one of the best places to watch a game and be at a game in college basketball. And I just feel like now is the time. We've went through this transition in college athletics, and now is the time more than ever that Minnesota's poised to take the next step forward. I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to pour my heart and soul into this. You can count on me to do that. And what's interesting about Minnesota is, and I know this from growing up, and you'll hear this, our slogan is Team Together. And it's going to take everyone to be successful. It does in every walk of life. But Minnesotans, when they care about their neighbors, they care about each other, they take a tremendous amount of pride in their state, tremendous amount of pride in their university. And when we rally together, this place is unbelievable. I've seen Minnesotans do that. I've seen them come together and support something unlike anything. And I've seen it done here before. And I believe we can do that again. It's going to take all of us. It starts with me. It starts with our coaches. It starts with the kind of young people that we bring here into the program. You have my word. We'll work on that to do that at the highest level. But it's going to take all of us. But you can feel it. Minnesotans band together unlike any place that I've ever seen and been. And I know that, having been here. And we're going to do that here. We're going to do that. And I think now in today's era of college athletics, we're more poised than ever to take the next step. And I look forward to seeing the barn packed, a big game, maybe against a rival, down south, down east, and finding a way to pull it out and having the fans celebrate, seeing ourselves back in the NCAA tournament, seeing ourselves playing in that game, vying to go to the Sweet 16, and building a consistent winner here. And I know when we do that, this place will rally. We'll rally to a level hopefully we've never seen before. So I'm really excited for the opportunity. Go Gophers. I suppose people would, you learn me, I can ramble forever. I kind of am who I am that way, but I think people probably want to ask me questions.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you.
Joe Schmidt, Channel 5. Welcome back, Niko. You said you're poised right now. The university is poised to make the next step. What makes you believe that? Because other coaches have felt the same thing on this day.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think, there's a lot of things, but I think I really believe in what we do and how we do it and the formula to make that happen. I think it's interesting. This is the third head coaching job I've had at a place that I was an assistant prior. And I think the one thing that does help you when you come in here, you kind of have an immediate vision of what that needs to look like, how you can hit the ground running, what works, at a place like Minnesota. I think that really helps us. Everybody knows it. It's no secret. We're in a changing landscape of college athletics. I believe Minnesota and the Big Ten, with what's moving forward now, is going to be positioned from a rev share NIL perspective to compete. I believe that the people from the top down understand that that's what it's going to take for us to compete. So I think you put all those things together. Now is the time to really get this moving in the right direction.
Andy Greeter, St. Paul Pioneer Press, welcome back. I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned Ben Johnson, and his roster from last year to this year was gutted, and NIL was a big part of that. Taking aside revenue share for a second, because that's the floor of what's coming, but NIL is the limitless ceiling here. What needs to happen with NIL at Minnesota, and how do you win if you don't have all the resources of Big Ten competition?
Well, I think two things. I mean, you can't win if you don't. I mean, everybody understands that. But I think it's also important to understand just because you have the most money doesn't guarantee you're going to be successful. All you have to do is look around college athletics the last couple years. So I think both of those things do matter. I believe this. I believe there's plenty of people here who want to get behind and support this. And I will say this, probably the one thing that's really unique is fans and people have an opportunity to directly impact our success in a way that they've never been able to before. So I think part of it is our job, getting people to believe in what we're doing and realize, hey, this is a program, a place, and people that I really want to get behind here to do that. I believe that the people here are committed to understanding what that looks like as far as raising money. Heck, let's hope people today go out right when we're done with this and join Dinkytown Athletics, right? But those are great questions. That's the truth of what's going on right now. But I think we can make it happen here. I really do.
Dawn Mitchell, Fox 9, welcome back. You speak about being poised and changes, and I know you're going to dig your hands deeper in the next couple of weeks and months. But from the outset, what is perhaps the number one change that you feel in your mind that the way you coach, the way you run a program, you have to implement when you get here?
I mean, I'm a big people person. I think where it's worked for us everywhere is just having the right people on board. It starts with the staff. I mean, that's the number one thing is, we've got to get that right. And I believe that we will. I've had tremendous coaches with me along the way. A lot of them have had opportunities to become head coaches, other ones that are on their way. But it's all about starting with that support system, that people who all believe in what we're doing, pulling in the same direction. It's no different with players. I mean, listen, it's talent acquisition business, right? There's never been a great coach who hasn't had great players. I just coached my third, NBA player here. But the one thing that's in common about all the guys that we've coached, they're tremendous young men. So they're talented, but they're tremendous young men, and they do want to be part of something bigger than themselves than just, and they learn through that. They get everything they want individually. So I think it's talent, but it's finding the right people. So that's the number one thing we have to do. Obviously, the transfer portal open, recruiting starts immediately. So staff and recruiting is the number one thing. And then right behind that is just engagement. It's engagement in the community. It's trying to get people to understand our vision, what we do, hopefully get people excited about that and want to get on board.
Niko, congratulations. Marcus Fuller, Star Tribune. Can you talk a little bit about the success you had at Colorado State, from the time you were there until the time you left, and also the pieces that you had there? Do you anticipate maybe, obviously it happens in coaching searches where players might jump from one school to the other, but also the staff that was already here, what you would retain, and then also players?
Yeah, that's a process. I mean, I can say this, unless he doesn't want to be here, Dave Thorson will have the opportunity to stay with us. He's been with me. We go way back, and so I hope that's what happens. I believe it will. I don't want to put Dave on the spot here, but I think he's all in. Can we count on you, Dave? All right, see where we go. You just heard it here, all right? I will definitely bring, some of my staff with me. Brian Cooley, who is with us, is here today. Joe Deciman is with us, is here today. But, we have to get that working. At Colorado State, again, it started with us. I think we do a great job of player evaluation, player development, finding the right people to start with here. It starts with our current roster. We've got some guys here in our current roster that, love to be a part of this moving forward. And hopefully we get an opportunity to do that here, even starting today. I've already had, conversation that they're going to get excited about that. So it starts there. As far as players, at our other program, I'm not ready to go there yet. You got to understand, guys, I was in Seattle trying to beat Maryland to go to the Sweet 16, and we lose on a last, and just been an unbelievable season, and 20 hours later, I'm here in Minneapolis. It's the way that the world works today. So I think for those guys, I told every one of them when I talked to them how much I love them, how proud I am of them, and they just need to take a couple of days here to process what happened, to be proud of what they did and enjoy it, because I don't want to take that from them. They've earned that, and so those things are for another day.
Chris Long from KSTP. Did he travel? No, I'm kidding. You've already answered that. Could you?
They didn't call one, so that's all that matters.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you have imagined when you were packing up to leave after that year here as an assistant that you'd be able to make that call to your parents and say, hey, I'm coming home?
No. If I'm being honest, it's no secret. They'd tell me. I remember, I dream, hey, whatever I could do to be a Division I head coach today would be a dream come true. God, could you ever imagine? Being a head coach at Colorado State. We'd been there as an assistant. That came true. And then this was something, of course, I dreamed of, and just to have it become a reality, it hasn't hit me yet. You know what I mean? Really, it hasn't hit me, but it will. But no, I couldn't. But dreams can come true. You know what I mean? That's what life is. And if you really believe in something and you stick with it, and you get the right people who support you, anything can happen. And it's amazing to be sitting here today.
Welcome home. Nadine Babu from gopherhole.com. Obviously, there's so much talk about NIL, but outside of NIL, what other areas of support do you feel that you need, or did you ask Mark Coyle about during your interview process?
I believe that everything else we do have here, and some of those things I think you kind of have to get into the big time, the big 30,000 foot view things we have here. Look at this facility. Do you know what I mean? That we have. We're in the Big Ten. This is the premier, conference in the country. I believe those things. Obviously, I'm connected. You talk to the right people, who are here and have said those things. And I think it also helps me to understand, like you said, Nadine, that I've been here before. I kind of know what this looks like and what works. I think as you maybe get further into it, right, you start, hey, maybe this would be something that we need really to move us to the next level. And listen, I believe Mark and them are committed to doing that. I really do. I think they know how important it is to get our program up and running. And I'm just excited to see that. When it happens, I just think it's going to be transformative.
Hey, Niko. Dave Campbell with Associated Press. I'm wondering when you joined the program in the 90s as a manager, if there was like a light bulb moment where you're like, yes, I want to be a head coach?
Gosh, it probably started for me when I had an opportunity to work the Nike All-American camp, and Coach Haskins at the time got me in with George Raveling, and getting to kind of spend some time doing that, when look at so many of the people that were working and that were involved with that. And it was maybe around that time where I knew I always wanted to coach, but I'll be honest, growing up, somebody said, hey, you can be the head coach at Roseville High School. You know what I mean? You said, man, that would be awesome to get an opportunity to do that. And then as my career kept going, I kept dreaming bigger and bigger. But I would say it was kind of about that time when I really got to connect with those people that it started thinking, you know what, this is what I want to do.
Daniel House, GophersGuru.com. Niko, this business is really demanding. It requires a lot of sacrifice, relentless work ethic, just a commitment to excellence. What kept you driven and motivated as you worked to this moment in your career?
I think because I got into coaching because I love coaching. I think there's so many other things that go into it. Obviously, everybody knows the financial gains, the notoriety, all that stuff that comes with it. But I know at my core, that's not why I got into coaching. There was no money in coaching when I first got into it. My parents will tell you it was just always something that was in me, coaching, teaching, mentoring. And there's all the other things that you have to be good at and skilled at to do it. But I think what's kept me in it is at its core, that's who I am. And it's like this season, with this team that we had, it just brings back faith again that, in everything that's going on in today's world, you get a group of guys that are just pulling for one another, and we're all pulling in the same direction. We love being together every day. They're willing to sacrifice. And so it's the way we've always done it, although the circumstances around it might be different. And we had, unbelievable success. But it's that keeps me going, that feeling of seeing people get better, teams get better, and just being a part of it. And that's always been with me, and it'll always be with me.
Hey, Niko, congratulations, Reggie Wilson with Care 11. We've seen some first-year coaches like Dennis Gates, Ben McCollum, even Cal at Arkansas, be able to come in and take the program to the tournament in year one. Is that something you feel energized to do? Is that a goal here?
That'd be amazing. You know what I mean? And I mean, we want to be as good as we can now. You know what I mean? I mean, that's ultimately the goal, to do that. That's one. But I think the big thing is we want to build something sustainable here. We want to have sustained success. So I hope that happens in year one. But the bigger thing is to have sustained success. I mean, I want people who move to the Twin Cities or they're around to say, hey, have you been to Gopher basketball game? Oh man, you gotta go to Gopher basketball game if you can get a ticket. You know what I mean? That's my vision for this. And when you do that, it's because you built a consistent winner and you have a product that people want to come out and see. And but short term, yeah, I mean, we want to be as good as we can next year. I mean, that is the goal starting today.
Could you explain a little bit in deeper detail your team together? I guess your version of row the boat, so to speak.
Oh man, it's not row the boat, but for me, I mean, if you look at who I am, my players would tell you I'm the most competitive person they've been around. I may not come across like that all the time. What you see is what you get, but I'm a competitive dude now. But the other thing with me is I really value team. And so I've just always felt like, I got into coaching because I want to be part of something bigger than myself. I think when you can get people to do that, to kind of sacrifice something and really invest in others and the team, it's really powerful things happen. And to be great, you need everybody involved. It starts, like I said, it starts with the coaches and the players, but it starts with the administration here. But then really, it's our fans, it's our supporters, all those things. We need everybody pulling in the same direction. And I think we really, listen, if you want people to invest, you do that through connection. I'm a big believer. You get investment through connection. And so when you can connect with people that way and people feel connected to you and what you're doing in your program, I think that's where you really start to spur an investment. And I just believe in that. And the more people you get connected, the more people you get invested, it just starts to spiral. And that's what it's about. It's a slogan, but really for us, we try to live that as a way of life.
Niko, the barn's going to turn 100 in a couple of years. How do you look at that place as far as the formula to winning and renovations needed there?
So listen, I follow this from a distance. I've heard all the knocking of the barn. I mean, I told you what that place means to me. Here's what I would say, and I think we've done this at other jobs where there's been this feeling of, well, here's why we can't do it. Here's why it hasn't worked before. But to focus in on why we can. And here's the thing about the barn. I think we can turn that into a strength. I think we can turn that into a strength of the program. And everybody's talking about like, oh, this is the problem. I think it could be a strength. And I think it's one of the most historic venues in all of college basketball. Have you been to Fog Allen? Have you been to Cameron Indoor Stadium? Those places are not, Now, sure, down the road, are there enhancements you might have to make and do some things to try to modernize it? Yeah. But I love walking in that. I think when people walk, and you know who've all been there before, when that place is packed, there's a certain energy in there that's different. You're on the stage than anywhere you go. There's ghosts in Williams Arena. Do you know what I mean? In a good way, you know? And so I just think that I look at it, I want that to be a strength of our program, is that, man, we got to go play in the barn tonight. You ain't getting out of the barn alive, you know? And that's going to take time, but I look at it that way.
Niko, I know that it's no secret that the state of Minnesota has a lot of talent and that you've recruited here before. I think I've seen some players here, Dawson Garcia, Parker Fox in the back here. What is it about the recruiting Minnesota that excites you now that you're the Gophers coach, and also balancing that with, you know, the portal and maybe not having as many scholarships for high school players?
Yeah, I think starting from the end, I mean, clearly, you know, the transfer portal is a big part of this, but we'll always recruit high school players. I think you always have to have players developing in your program. I think that's really important. I think we've done that really well at the places that we've been. It's been funny growing up here as a kid to just watch high school basketball in Minnesota be transformed. And it's amazing when you're around the country, you talk to people, everyone comes up here to recruit now, because there's high-level players, you know? Obviously, we had an NBA player that came from Minneapolis that played for us at Colorado State. We've got a few others, you know, on our roster that way. So there's great talent here. There's terrific coaching. There's terrific resources around it. I'm biased, but I just think basketball runs deep in the state of Minnesota. I think people are dying for a winner here. I think what helps us is, you know, I know a lot of these people. I have close relationships and understand kind of the landscape and the history of how it works here. I think it starts one by one, but changing the narrative of you can come right here and have everything you need and want to be successful. You can develop personally, you can develop as a player, you can win at the highest level, you can play in the best league in the country. And obviously selling our track record doing that, you know, how we've been able to do that at other players and getting people to believe it. Sometimes it just takes one. It takes one saying, I'm all in, I'm coming. You know what I mean? I want to be a Gopher. And then what happens? The next guy wants to do that. And so we'll work really hard on that. But it's not just Minnesota. You know, the Big Ten has a national brand. I think it's going anywhere that we need to go to find the talent and the people that we need to win. Go to the NCAA tournament, do the things that we need to be successful.
We'll take one or two more questions, and then we'll end the press conference. So we'll go back to Nadine.
I've got two rapid fires for you. One, do you plan to hang the banners back in the barn? And two, what are your thoughts on playing St. Thomas?
Ooh. I don't know that the banners aren't in the barn, so that's something we need to talk about. You know what? I can tell them, you know, I don't think, I've already talked to them. I mean, I tried to get St. Thomas to play us, but they don't want anything to do with us. So that's a joke, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard that too or whatever. So I talked to Johnny, and he just, like, I'm begging him to play, and he doesn't even want to play. So, no, you know, listen, I'm open to that for sure. You know what I mean? I'm open to doing that. He does a great job, you know what I mean? And my brother went to St. Thomas. I think it's really cool to see them doing what they're doing. I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome for basketball in the state of Minnesota. And I'm a competitive guy. It'd be fun. I know if you play St. Thomas, you better buckle up because they're really good. But I could see that happening at some point. Can I promise it's going to be next year? But I could see that happening if he'll play.
Danny Spiewak with KARE 11. I won't ask you any more questions about NIL because you're probably sick of talking about it, but I do want to
listen, that's all we talk about. So
Right, yeah.
it's death taxes, coaches talking about NIL,
Right.
so.
Well, then I'll segue into just, obviously the new thing's revenue sharing. Just how are you going to navigate that? What does that look like? That's new for fans too. What's that going to look like? Do you know what your budget might look like?
I think part of that is, you know, I know where Mark stands on that and where we want to be, you know, positioned in our conference from a rev share perspective. I think part of that is just going to be, you know, when this ruling happens, right? Judge Wilkins rules on that, and I think we have to wait there to make sure. But I feel really, really comfortable that we're going to be positioned from a rev share perspective to do it at the level we need to. I think some of the stuff that I've heard, and I got to learn more, what the Big Ten is doing with that is really cool. I think we're at the forefront of you know, understanding how we want to use rev share, something with standard contracts, all those things. So again, I just think the Big Ten is the mothership around all this stuff. And I think we're going to be in a great position. I believe, when that ruling happens.
All right. Thank you, Coach. I want to thank everyone again for joining us today. We appreciate you being here. Congratulations, Coach, and thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Excited to be here. Go Gophers!